Hey guys! Today we'll be covering a 2018 drama film called Nappily Ever After. The movie revolves around a girl named Violet who has an overbearing mother, Paulette. Actually, Paulette is consumed with the presentation of her child. She considers Violet a reflection of herself. It was an ever-present source of anxiety to prove that she was just as well-groomed as any white child. They would play with their hair uncombed, no shoes, traces of everything they had eaten smeared on their faces, completely happy and oblivious to any possible defects to their appearance. Violet, on the other hand, had to be fixed. Once a week, wash, condition, and hot comb until her hair was straight enough to run her fingers through it without one snap, crackle, or pop. Only then was Violet a perfect girl. But for an 11-year-old girl, perfection is no fun. One day at a pool, a boy dares Violet to hold her breath underwater, so she jumps in despite her mother's protests. Underwater, her hair instantly becomes naturally wild and frizzy. The other children start to tease her, and her horrified mother takes her home. As an adult, Violet is seemingly perfect. A successful advertising executive, has had her doctor boyfriend Clint for 2 years, and with great effort, wears her hair long and straight. Her relationship with her mother continues to be close as she helps keep Violet the vision of perfection. However, Paulette and Violet's father become estranged after he quits his job to become a model. One night, Paulette shows up at Violet's apartment at the crack of dawn. It turns out, Violet has found a ring box in her boyfriend Clint's pocket, and Paulette is there to help her look her best for her birthday and possibly wedding proposal. As Clint sleeps, Paulette straightens Violet's hair. Violet reveals that Clint has been asking her assistant April for help so that the party is going to be according to Violet's taste. Violet also reveals her father Richard would be present at the party, much to Paulette's dismay, and asks her to be civil to him. After Paulette leaves, Violet returns to bed, and Clint wakes up to her looking perfect by his side. Clint wishes her a happy birthday, and the two make love before leaving for their respective jobs. As always, Violet delivers a great presentation to her boss, who approves her to pitch the idea before the clients. Later, Violet meets her friends for brunch, and the ladies gush over Violet's forthcoming wedding proposal. Outside, she accidentally gets sprayed by a neighbor's kids. When she can't contact her mother, she bribes a hairdresser to cancel his other appointments to fix her hair. There, she meets the hairdresser Will's sassy little daughter named Zoe. The little girl calls her out for giving money to Will's clients to take their spot, saying the amount could easily sponsor 6 kids from Uganda. Embarrassed, Violet claps back by saying she should be slapped and makes fun of her hair. Halfway into the relaxation treatment, Violet feels uneasy and asks her hairdresser to abort the process. It's revealed that Zoe erroneously gave her the wrong cream, which causes some of Violet's hair to fall out. Causing a scene, Violet blames the little girl for the incident and insults her hair again. She also demands that Will install a good weave for her birthday party. At her birthday party, Clint proposes a toast in which he calls her perfect, expressing amazement at how Violet manages to look as beautiful waking up in the morning as she is at night. He then presents her a dog named Lola instead of a ring, much to her dismay. Later, she confronts him at home and tells him they have been together for 2 years, so was expecting a ring from him. When she tells him that she doesn't even like dogs, Clint responds, "That's the problem." After 2 years, he doesn't really know her because she never lets her guard down around him or reveal her flaws and weaknesses. Realizing that he's not ready to marry her, Violet bursts into tears and breaks up with him. The next day, Violet wakes up to Lola by her side and takes her out to pee before leaving for work. Still reeling from her breakup, she butchers her well-prepared presentation. The client loves the campaign, but insists on replacing Violet with her coworker Alicia for the project. Violet's boss asks her to take a few days off to get her head straight. Violet uses the break to go shopping and ends up catching Zoe shoplifting at the mall. She then calls Will to take the young girl back home. Later, Violet goes out with her girlfriends for drinks. At the club, she meets a guy and goes home with him. Thinking she is wild, the man encourages her to do wild roleplay, but they end up hitting their heads, leaving him bleeding. Realizing the day is a total bust, Violet leaves and decides to go see Clint. However, at the hospital, she finds him laughing and flirting with a coworker. Clint sees her and tries to explain himself, but she curses at him and leaves. She returns home devastated and drinks some more. She removes Clint's belongings from her room before she finds herself crying in front of the mirror. In the blink of an eye, she decides to shave her head and goes through with it. The next morning, when the alcohol is worn off, Violet is horrified to see what she has done. She calls up her parents. Upon seeing their daughter, Paulette passes out, while Richard comforts her, saying it just shows off more of her pretty face. Wearing a scarf on her head, she leaves for work but can't bring herself to face her coworkers, so she cries in the bathroom. A woman there takes notice and suggests she come to her support group. Violet decides to give it a shot, and she discovers the group is for cancer survivors. Realizing how minuscule her problems are compared to them, Violet apologizes and proceeds to leave, but the group leader gives her words of support and encourages her to own her look. Over time, Violet grows confident with her new look. She also switches her beat from beauty to other areas at work. One day, she receives a handwritten letter from little Zoe, apologizing to her for everything. Violet pays her a visit and buys her the dress she was about to steal from the mall. Violet also learns that Zoe has internalized hate for her natural hair and body. She apologizes to the little girl for her comments and tells her not to let anyone's negative opinions of her become her reality. She also encourages the girl against straightening her hair and braids it for her. Seeing Zoe so happy with her, Will asks Violet to stay for dinner. Will helps Violet open up like never before, and she feels comfortable enough around him to sing. Before parting ways, Will asks her out on a date. Before her date, Paulette shows up at her home with a copy of a magazine where Richard is posing in underwear. Paulette is mortified, but Violet thinks he is looking good for his age. Violet also tells her about her date with Will, much to her dismay. Will takes her to a food truck restaurant on the first date, where he encourages her to order real food instead of a pretentious salad. The two then talk about their past relationship, and it is revealed that Zoe's mother left Will after she couldn't handle being a mother. One thing leads to another, and the two start making out. Over time, the two start dating, and Violet becomes very close to Zoe. Violet and Will quickly grow close, and she takes him to her mother's 4th of July party. Violet tries to evade questions about Will's profession, but Paulette eventually finds out and makes condescending comments about him and his career choice, causing him to leave. Violet goes after him and tries to stop him, but he tells her off for trying to keep his profession a secret from her mother. He breaks it off with Violet, telling her to sort herself out. At work, Violet tries to give her best, but when she loses another ad pitch for an ad campaign with diverse women to a male colleague's idea using blonde models with big breasts, she quits her job. Violet's boss tries to convince her against it, but she tells him it was a long time coming. After returning home, she puts on loud upbeat music and dances her troubles away. Unbeknownst to her, Clint, who's picking up his things, watches her. When the music ends, Clint reveals his presence and appreciates her loosening up. It has been months since the breakup. Clint, still interested in Violet, apologizes, saying he never wanted her to think she wasn't beautiful. Clint then reveals that the dog Lola peed on his shirt, so Violet allows him to take a shower. After a moment of hesitation, Violet decides to join him, and the two make love. The next morning, Violet prepares breakfast, but Clint insists she sit at the table and cuts onions. He then proposes to her with an onion ring, and she says yes. Violet informs her mother, who couldn't be more excited. Violet's friends also learn that the wedding is in 3 months. Violet stays in touch with Zoe and invites her to the engagement party. For the party, Clint requests Violet to straighten her hair to meet his parents. Violet finds the request unusual, but she agrees and Paulette helps her straighten it. At the party to meet Clint's parents, Violet feels pressured and uneasy and goes off alone. Her heels are killing her, so she takes them off. Everyone is seated and waiting for her, so Clint and her parents look for her. They find her sitting by herself in a room. Violet tells them that she can't meet Clint's parents because she can't live up to their standards. She says even Zoe can walk barefoot outside without a care in the world and knows who she is, while Violet doesn't. When Clint asks her what she wants, Violet says she wants to go for a swim. Going barefoot to the pool, surrounded by tables of people, she jumps in and invites others. Zoe, Violet's 2 girlfriends, and others join her. Violet's father grabs her mother and they jump in and make up with a kiss, while Clint looks on disappointedly. Some days later, Violet and Will are in a conference room at an ad agency where she is pitching Will's plant-based hair products for women's natural hair. After a successful pitch, Violet and Will walk out together, and after speaking briefly, Violet walks away confidently.